Okay, hello everyone and welcome to Cleaning the Litter Box. This is Dr. Fluffy and things are getting worse. So we got some news from BBC. Canadian baby first without gender designation on health card. Oh my god, this is crazy. And it had to come from Canada. Canada. No, I remember when we used to make fun of the United States and used to say that, oh, look at Canada. Canada it looked like this great, amazing place to live in that was much more sane than USA. And apparently, the places have flipped. Now we look at Canada and we're like, oh, just run away to the USA. Not that the USA is that much better right now, but come on. So an 8-month-old Canadian baby has been issued a health card without a gender marker in what could be the first case in the world. Parent Corey Doughty, a non-binary transgender person who identifies as neither male nor female, aims to allow the child to discover their own gender. Let's start here. A non-binary transgender person who identifies neither as a male nor a female. Well, we know that only females give birth, so you are a female. You're not someone who's neither. Now, you can be like a gender dysphoria patient, but in that case, you're transitioning to a male, so you cannot have a child. The reality is, my opinion on this is, if you are in any way transgender, you cannot have a child. If you're a female that is transitioning to a male cannot have a child. So in the moment that you decide you're transitional, you're diagnosed with gender dysphoria, and you take in the treatment that is the transition, you cannot have a child. Because that's ridiculous. A man does not have a child, so you cannot have a child. And it's the same thing in a male that is transitioned to a female. If you are decided to transition to a female, you cannot. I'm sorry, forget your sperm. You are not going to continue your lineage. That makes no sense. That's like contrary to what you basically decided that you are. Decided in this case is not decided. What you are diagnosed with. So yeah, I think basically allowing a transgender person to have a child is child abuse. I'm unapologetic with this because it is child abuse. That child is going to be fucked up for the rest of her life, and yeah, this person is already fucking that child's life up. But let's continue. The health card has been issued with the U in the space of sex. Sex! Here, sex! Fucking hell. Which could be for undetermined or unassigned. You don't assign gender or sex. It's determined by your chromosomes. You just look at the result of those chromosomes and you write it in the card. It's not undetermined or unassigned. You have there. It's already determined biologically. Corey Doughty is fighting to omit the gender from the birth certificate. Of course it is. You have a crazy person with an ideology trying to fuck this child's life up, and you're allowing it. The parent gave birth to Sarah Lee Aitley in November at a friend's home in British Columbia. Corey Doughty, who prefers to use the pronoun they, argues that a visual inspection at birth is unable to determine what gender that person will have or identify with later in life. Yes, it does. It perfectly does to more than 99.7% of all people on Earth. So it is capable of determining. And if you think that's not enough, just do a genetic test. You'll see if it is XY, man. If it is XX, woman. It's that simple. It's not that hard. If you think the genitals are not enough, ask for a chromosomal test. It will tell you the same thing. They want to keep serial sex off all official records. Of course you do, because you're a fucking moron. I'm raising cerebral in such a way that until they have the sense of self, a command of vocabulary to tell me who they are, I'm recognizing them as a baby, and I'm trying to give them all the love and support to be the most whole person that they can be outside of the restrictions that come with the boy box or girl box. No, what you're doing is child abuse. What you're doing is abusing your child for ideological purposes, and your fucking child should be taken from you. This should not even be a question. The government should go and take the freaking child away. In the moment that this person started with this campaign to abuse our child, the child should be taken away, given to the father, or if the father is also a crazy ideologue as her, given to adoption. I'm sorry, that's simple. Do we need more than, as quoted by CBC as saying, do we need more than two genders? No, we only need two genders because there's only two genders. Beyond he and she, the rise of non-binary pronouns, the rise of crazy people that want to be special. If you want to know about special people and why they're doing this, watch my previous video. In the end, after I deal with Riley Dennis, I explain this very well. Corey Doughty, a community educator who is part of the Gender-Free ID Coalition, said that those who feel different to the gender designation assigned at birth face several problems later in life trying to change their documents. Who the fuck cares? You're assigned with that illness, this gender dysphoria. It should be needed the doctor, like a specialist, diagnose for you even to think about changing your documents. Your documents are not your personal choice. They're documents for the state to identify who you are. And guess what? Your sex is part of who you are, and that's what they're determining in the documents. They don't fucking care about your sense of gender. Fuck you. When I was born, doctors looked at my channels and made assumptions about who I would be, and those assignments followed me and followed my identification through my life, Corey Doughty said. No, they did not make assumptions. They looked at them and they determined, yes, male or female. In this case, female. And they were right because the chromosomes say that they were right. Those assumptions were incorrect. No, they weren't. And I ended up having to do a lot of adjustments since then. The only adjustments that you needed to have is if you suffer from gender dysphoria, you have an illness, you do transition therapy. I'm sorry, that sucks, but considering it's less than 0.3% of the population that suffers from this, no, we're not going to change the world just for 0.3% of the population. Fuck you. In the case of celery athlete, the parents said that the authorities have refused to issue the birth certificate without the gender designation, so the parents has applied for a judicial review of the case. No, the authorities should take the child away. That's what the authorities should do. It's not just refuse to give this birth certificate, they should remove the child, because if they are that ideological to change the birth certificate of the child, they're going to abuse that child. That child's probably going to be genital mutilated before it even reaches puberty. And gender dysphoria only can be visible at puberty, when sexual intention starts coming around and hormones start going to the levels that they're going to be in adult life. That's when gender dysphoria truly manifests. So before that, I would say before 14, 15 years old, nobody has gender dysphoria. Nobody has a different gender than they are born with. That's child abuse, and this needs to be stopped. The family's lawyer, Barbara Findlay, who chooses to spell her name without capital letters, Total Global News. The assignment of sex in this culture is done. When a medical person lifts up the legs and looks at the baby genitals, but we know that the baby's own gender identity will not develop for some years until after they're born. I don't care. They are not determining a fake gender identity. They are determining the true gender of the child. No, the biological sex of the child. That's what they are determining. And again, if you think that doctors looking up just at the genitals does not work, do a chromosome test. Let's look at the chromosomes. It will tell you the exact same fucking thing. Canadian media reported that this baby's elf cat could be the first in the world to not have a gender designation. This should tell you something how wrong it is, how stupid it is. And Canada is so far up their ass with this regressive ideology that they are probably going to let this happen. Instead of doing the right thing, that is removing their child from these abusive parents. This makes me angry. This makes me livid. Fucking hell. And this gets worse and worse because instead of people being worried about this bullshit and this regressive ideology that is happening, they're always worrying about Trump's tweets. Oh, Trump's tweets. Oh my God, Trump's tweet. Or like Germany with their anti Facebook and anti YouTube laws of hate speech. Regressives are destroying society. They're destroying civilization with this, and this needs to stop because this is not helping anybody. This is not helping true trans people, true people that suffer from gender dysphoria. This is not helping them at all. This is not helping the children. The children are the ones that are being more affected by this. You're going to have people that are going to be 20 years old and they have the genitals mutilated and they are going to hate their parents for life because it was just normal boys and girls that suffered from no gender dysphoria and suddenly had their genitals mutilated and now they're like, hey, thank you parents for ruining my life. Now I'm a boy that transformed into a girl and I still like girls and I want to have relationships, but of course nobody's going to date me. Oh, thank you, I was a girl and I like boys, but you mutilated me and now nobody wants to date me. That's the future of this child. You understand that it's going to be no dating options and they're going to live their lives as somebody that their parents decided they were because of ideological reasons. You freaking monsters. Really. Please, I think there needs to be a movement that forces the government to start taking children from these freaking monsters. There's no other word for these people. They are monsters. They are ruining a generation's life. But it's not just the parents' fault because these parents learn this bullshit from these freaking failures of academics that decided to push this regressive ideology. They failed in life and they want everybody else to be as miserable as they are because they don't care. Their life's already ruined. So what they care about is seeing as many people with their lives ruined as they have. So this needs to end, and we need to help this end. So I know I was very angry during this video, but I saw the news and I couldn't stop without doing a video. I hope you guys tell me your opinion in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this particular case. Leave a like if you can, share, subscribe if you haven't. I really like to try to spread a little bit more message and information about these subjects, but my channel is very small, and but yeah, any share can help, any like can help, any comment can help, and I hope you guys come back from the next video. Stay fluffy.